Hello and welcome to the Comixpiracy episode 215 for the week of June 23rd, 2015. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here this week that's actually sitting at the table?
Brock Secker.
Jim Jokisch.
Kevin Sharp.
And Charlie.
Hello, everyone. Toby is here, taking the place of Omar this week. Means he's like 4 bottles in already. I don't know what's up with Toby. I don't see him
He's leaning.
drunk in the daylight too often.
Doesn't look
but
well.
Yeah. Okay, Toby will join us when whatever's going on is done.
Probably when we start talking about Daredevil.
It's like bright pink
Once
right
he
now.
cleanses his system.
So, we're here to talk about the Daredevil TV show on Netflix. But before we do that, there's a handful of things to talk about.
Big thing to talk about. We'll get to that.
Just a couple big things. But we've been lax on reviewing Daredevil, and we're finally all done. Toby, strangely enough, has been the one pushing us to do this, and I'm not sure if he's going to be on the podcast tonight. So, good job, Toby.
That's okay. He just wants to know what we think about it.
That's true.
So he
That's
can
true.
yell at us.
So before we talk about Daredevil, let's talk about the big news from today, actually. And that is that Spider-Man has been cast for the Marvel Cinematic Movie / Sony Spider-Man universe. It's a kid no one's ever heard of named Tom Holland, directed by a director no one's ever heard about named John Watts. So there you go. 2 random people are going to be playing Spider-Man and directing
I also
Spider-Man.
heard another rumor about Spider-Man would be Miles Morales.
Incorrect.
I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. I read it.
Nope.
So.
And I also want to correct. I am now. I don't know if I am crazy.
Okay, you
But-
are.
Yes.
Dan Slott has said that he's writing Spider-Man post Secret Wars, Amazing Spider-Man. So they've announced Brian Michael Bendis is going to continue Ultimate Spider-Man, just calling it Spider-Man. This was another big announcement yesterday, I think, or over the weekend. And so we're going to have Miles Morales Spider-Man in the Marvel Universe, which we knew about. But there's also going to be Amazing Spider-Man by Dan Slott. Like, this isn't news. This is I swear this was already announced. But multiple people on the forums are saying, no, this is just going to be the Miles Morales Spider-Man. And
Is
you're crazy if you think
Is
that.
McFarlane drawing it?
No. But no, there absolutely is going to be I think there's something in front of the... I think there's a table in front of the door, Toby. Now Toby's wandering back this way. There is going to be an Amazing Spider-Man comic book featuring Peter Parker. Like, Marvel's never going to get rid of this for any, Superior aside. But it's still Spider-Man, right? I mean, it's still kind of the same thing. But anyway, yes, we have our Marvel Cinematic Spider-Man. He's a young white kid.
For the week.
Like he was always going
for
to
the
be.
week.
I'm not against a Miles Morales movie or him being in the movies, but it's always going to be Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You're crazy if you think it's going to be anyone else.
Yeah.
So
Even if he disappears for a while, he's going to come back. I mean,
I'm really curious to see how they fit Spider-Gwen into the movies.
no, she won't have anything.
she'll swing on by.
But we got our teenage Spider-Man who will first appear in Captain America, as we believe. So, I'm excited to see what this kid can do. He looks like a kid, so I'm sure he'll be a perfectly fine Peter Parker.
He'll be an enhanced in the field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, hopefully no spider armor. Nothing like that. Maybe Iron Spider.
No, nothing like that. You're not going to see anything like that.
You should be excited about one piece of news connected to that casting.
What's
is
that?
there's not going to be an origin told again.
Oh, yeah. Well, they kind of hinted around that, I think, early on, right? That they're not going to do
That
another
in
full...
Civil War, he's just going to be
Right.
a superhero who exists,
Right.
and that any origin will be threaded through, no pun intended, his own movie. But
Which
that it won't be an origin story.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I'm fine with every Batman movie having the 30 seconds of a vision of his parents getting killed. I don't need Batman Begins every time, though, right? And yeah, I'm totally fine with that. And yeah, I mean, people know who Spider-Man is. You don't need to know the specifics. Just
So would you say you're excited about a new Spider-Man movie?
yeah, absolutely. Assuming Marvel has most to do with it. I mean, but it sounds like Sony is still writing it, still producing it, still. I mean, this is some of these are still their kind of decisions. So, I mean, if they hire, I mean, if it's as crappy as the other ones, well,
I was
at
going to
least
say, you were excited for Spider-Man 2 until it came out, so.
not 2. I didn't like 1. I was curious about 2, but I wasn't very excited for it. It was
okay.
as bad as I expected. I'm I mean, I'm probably more excited for Fantastic Four than I was Spider-Man 2, only because Fantastic Four is the unknown, right? Because we don't know.
Well, it's the First Class, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole. We all watched that First Class trailer and was like,
Eh.
and then we watched it. It was like, damn,
Yeah,
that was
good.
That was good.
Yeah.
FF is or 4 is the same thing. It's like,
See, the sad part about that movie is I'm just hoping it bombs, so they'll just let the rights go back to Marvel.
Yeah.
Like that's all I like.
That's-
If there wasn't the potential of Marvel getting the rights back, I'd probably be rooting for it. But because the potential is there, if it really bombs, I'm
you
just
seriously
hoping
want
it
to
bombs.
Galactus in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, don't you?
Hell yeah.
Yes,
Who doesn't?
absolutely.
Well, the exciting thing about that FF movie, not knowing if it's going to be good or terrible, is the exciting thing.
Yeah.
With the Marvel Studios products, you kind of know at this point what you're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's like going to In-N-Out,
Right.
for example.
Right.
You know it's going to be pretty good to very good.
Yeah.
The FF is a complete unknown.
Right.
And that's exciting.
It's like
Yeah.
It's like an Arby's.
Yeah, I'm not against...
Sorry, Arby's.
I mean, early on, I think we were all kind of like, this doesn't look too hot. But the trailers have persuaded me that this could be
Wait,
interesting.
did you just say trailers plural? Did you break your own rule and watch multiple?
Oh, for a movie, I don't give a fuck about. I'll watch anything. I don't care. But I mean, I don't go out of my way to watch trailers. It's just I saw them on TV. So yeah, I got no problem with the FF movie. Now, before we move on to Daredevil, it was a funny story happened over the last couple days.
I wouldn't call it funny. Well, funny from my aspect of it because I had to watch it unfold.
I've had a number of people say they sometimes enjoy hearing kind of more of the retailer end of back end stuff. You may remember a handful of weeks ago, we had some delays in our shipping. There was a truck that broke down. There were some issues, and no, there was no issues, actually. No comic issues shipped. But everything came out, and we got our books, and, books were delayed, but that's fine. We
We had a solid Thursday.
Yeah,
New Comic Book Day.
we had a pretty special series of events this week that, I don't like to bash Diamond too much because at the end of the day, I think they do a pretty decent job given the amount of crap they have to deal with.
Well, they're the only ones.
3,000 accounts, 3,000 plus accounts, probably closer to 4,500 accounts, weekly product, hundreds of copies of them, very small, very damaging, very damageable, very picky audience comparatively to, I would assume, most... condition-wise, right?
Very picky
Yeah.
picky on it.
Yeah, I don't think too many people worry about the condition of how clothes show up, and they're in a box. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like comics, very particular audience.
Exactly.
My,
Yes, a
My
very
People
particular-
magazine had a little ding on the cover.
Yes,
Nobody
I'm
gives
sorry.
a shit.
I don't
Yeah.
go into a store looking for a 9.0. Okay.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that unfazed, edge. I
Right.
want everything to be perfect.
So we had a pretty interesting series of events this week, and the reason I like to talk about this is because I don't know who to blame, and we still don't know. Normally we receive our comics on Tuesdays. And Brock's here to help me process everything, and now that we record on Tuesday nights, we get to kind of preview everything before we record, so there's something special to talk about. Normally this involves the books hitting Southern California Friday, processed, shipped up here by UPS. We pick up Tuesday morning. So this series of events happened this week where a truck broke down. We believe
This
on
is
its
a
way to
diamond
LA.
truck,
We believe
right?
it's a diamond truck on its way to LA, and for whatever reason, this is where everything kind of fell apart. UPS, who services the majority of comic distributors in the country, apparently failed to just pick up the shipment, period. Other distributors or other stores use like FedEx and local distributors. They got their books today, no problem, despite being told they weren't going to. But about 2/3 of the comic stores in Northern California did not receive product today or tomorrow on Wednesday. We think we're getting them Thursday. As of just prior to recording this episode on Tuesday night, UPS finally got their hands on the books that we were told specifically that they've had since like Monday or Saturday, right? So,
They're just giving me plenty of time to play Arkham Knight.
yeah, exactly. This has been I've been on the phone for 2 days trying to track down where 100,000 pounds of comic books are. Not just me. I mean, obviously,
It's
other
not just
stores.
his store, folks. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking across, potentially a couple hundred stores across all of Northern California, multiple, every kind of group has like someone who's kind of taken the task to find out what's going on. And I kind of did it for the South Bay, about 5 or 6 other stores. And it's like, man, it is baffling that in 2015 we can't tell where a UPS driver is and where these boxes are at any time.
Well, I think
how do they not all have cell phones?
I think the best one was that today you finally got a hold of somebody at Diamond in their warehouse down in L.A. and they actually looked at the boxes.
This is people on the East Coast at Diamond who said we have people who are at the warehouse that are trying to physically put their eyeballs on the books because these books were supposed to be gone, but UPS says we don't have them, so they never got picked up. So this is a failure across the board. So part of this is a warning that if you listen to this on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning and you're a Bay Area comic collector, your comic store is not going to have books on Wednesday.
Well, you'll need to check.
Now here's where it gets very interesting.
This is where the fun really begins.
Because 2/3 of the comic stores in the Bay Area are not getting their product on time, and we're going to have them Thursday. We're going to haul ass on Thursday to get stuff out as much as we can by opening. We'll see how we do. Normally, I wouldn't even put them out till Friday, given this type of situation. You have the whole day
here to help.
The whole day to process. Yeah. Diamond is calling retailers that got their product and said, "You're not allowed to sell your books." This is
right. That's going to happen.
So are they calling Comixology and saying...
Well, they're calling... So basically how Diamond is set up is this. You cannot sell product earlier than the average time that everyone else in your area has them. So if every store opens at 10, you can open at 9.
Yeah.
But you can't open at 8 or 7 or 6 in the morning or the previous night, right?
Yeah.
And this is to keep we open at 11. A lot of stores open at 10. That's totally fine. If I opened at 7 in the morning, that would be an issue. So what
with you getting up there early, but keep going.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen either. So they're basically telling these stores that have their product, you guys can't sell them. And at least the stores I've talked to around here that have their books, that they're selling them tomorrow. And that's a problem because Diamond has like a 3-strike and you're out policy for Tuesday delivery. This is not the normal, although every store does it. Wednesday is the day you're supposed to receive product. They give stores kind of a bonus of like, hey, since you haven't broken street dates, you get your books a day early to process. You're a legitimate businessman. So this may cause some problems because a lot of stores, if they start selling their books, they're going to get dinged by Diamond, and enough of these and you lose your Tuesday delivery. So we're not sure what's going to happen. Now, this poses a problem because if all my customers go to another store...
Let me ask you a question. And you just now approached it. I mean, if you had the books ahead of time and Diamond's telling you to hold off, but not giving you a time when to sell them,
telling them,
what would you do?
They're telling them they could sell them on Thursday. We've been asked before to not sell books until Thursday. I have not sold books until Thursday.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
I guess it's a super tough situation to be in because hardcore comic fans are going to show up at the shops, and they're going to show up here.
Right, but what you're talking about, this poses the problem. 2/3 in the Northern California don't have their books tomorrow. The other 1/3 of the stores can't support those 2/3 of customers. What's going to happen is any store that puts their books out, customers are going to go to those stores, and one of two things are going to happen. A local store here said that they're not going to sell books to customers from other shops, but they're going to be on the wall. All that's going to do is piss off customers who walk into that store, and they're like, sorry, you don't normally shop here. You can't buy this. That's a weird position to put customers in.
No.
Now, if the store lets anyone buy all the comics, they're going to be sold out of everything by noon or 1 o'clock. Any of their regular customers that comes at nights or weekends, who we have a normal flow of customers. We do sell a lot of stuff regularly, but we have a pretty expected customer base. If all of a sudden I had 30 new customers in a day, or 40, or 50, we would be out of everything by 11:30. There's no possible way.
Yeah.
No store orders. Oh, an extra 60 copies just in case. I mean, that's not how it works. So this is a very terrible situation that the entire Northern California comic industry we're finding ourselves in this week. And at the end of the day, it's all going to work out. Everyone will get their books on Thursday. No one's going to give a fuck. A few stores will get dinged. Some stores will sell out. We will sell 10% less. It'll all wash out in the end. But it's a weird position. It's a weird thing right now. So,
Yeah, because I got to process books on Thursday.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be doing backstock.
I need my fix, man. I need my comic.
Thursday's my day off. I sleep in on Thursdays. I sleep till like 8 a.m. on Thursdays. Come on, it's my day off. It's just this is little back of the counter for all those people out there that this type of stuff.
A little store drama for you,
So
folks.
in the last 20 years, the amount of times that this has happened, period, could be counted on one hand, and it's happened twice in a month. That's an issue. We're moving away from UPS because this is more of a UPS issue
Because obviously
than
Brown
anything.
can't do shit for you.
Yeah. This is more of a UPS problem than anything. But Diamond, I would suggest looking at FedEx in the future for delivery because they
DHL.
FedEx seems to be able to get the ball turned around. They were waiting for the books. They got them. They took their shipment. Boom. People that had FedEx got their books.
now this
Independent trucking company got their books. UPS.
This is the best thing about this whole thing. The books were in the warehouse when down in LA.
They must have been there yesterday morning.
Okay, we could have gone down to LA.
Oh, sure.
Picked up the books from the warehouse and gotten back, and still had time to
I
process.
could have taken a trip to Disneyland. I could have got some. I could have got some corn dogs.
Okay, son. All right, folks. Your comics are going to be delayed because Ryan had to ride the
No.
fucking Matterhorn
I could
again.
still have them back here by Tuesday, process them, and have them out for Wednesday. Yeah. But Diamond also had the opportunity to just say, fuck it, we have to overnight this stuff to everyone. They have to get their books Tuesday
should eat
morning
it.
or worst case Wednesday morning, right?
They should eat it. It's their
should.
obligation. I mean,
They should.
you've made commitments to them to purchase this material. They have made an obligation to you to deliver the material on time.
And here's the funny thing. Every store that gets books on Tuesday gets charged $4 a week for the processing of this. I'm still being charged my $4.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So at least give me my
they're going to get their money. Absolutely.
At least give me my $4 back, Diamond. $4. So, the main topic tonight: Daredevil. Toby, you sober? No, he's not.
Well,
Okay.
there's one other announcement.
One other announcement: Charlie wants to go home and play Arkham Knight.
Knight.
So,
Well, there is that too, but I was actually just going to say that Dark Horse finally gave in and joined Comixology.
that is true. Yes,
That means I got to change my blog. Fuck.
Yeah, Dark Horse gave up their shit-ass app that they've had and moved over to Comixology, who just launched a new update to their app as well. So if you're a fan of our digital comic store,
No.
everything on, I believe, the vast majority of stuff on
Are the Star Wars books on there from Dark Horse?
the Star Wars Dark Horse books are all on there in the Marvel section.
Yeah.
Yep.
And side note, the Usagi Saga editions are like $13 each there digitally.
No, those are the $25 soft covers. So that's nice. That's like 20 issues, 24 issues.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's good. That's like 50 cents an issue.
Yep.
It's a good deal. So yeah, all the Dark Horse stuff is on there, including a bunch of their manga, Hellboy, Usagi, a ton of
Conan. I'm
yeah,
sure the Conans are on there.
ton of
Yeah.
good stuff. So go check that out.
Nice.
Thank you, Charlie, for reminding me of that. I had it, but I just spaced my mind. I was thinking Daredevil.
He was
Daredevil.
He's thinking
Arkham
Diamond.
Knight.
He was thinking Diamond. It's
If you can't buy your books from us tomorrow and you can't wait and you want to double dip, go to digital.comicsconspiracy.biz, buy your digital comics Wednesday morning, and then come back here Thursday afternoon sometime and buy them again. Daredevil. So our good friend Kevin is he reached out to us a couple weeks back and said, if you guys are talking Daredevil anytime soon, I've got to be on. so Kevin, that's why you're here. I finally got to finish it the other week, or the other night. I finished it last night. Brock, you finished it up a couple
Last
weeks
week.
back. Yeah.
week.
I binge watched.
You watched it in like one night.
No. It's actually more than one night. I had to
Okay.
watch it like 3 nights. Took
Okay.
3 nights to watch it, but man, those were intense. Those
Yeah.
were awesome.
Took me about
That's the
2
way to
weeks.
watch it, though. I mean, binge watching freaking TV shows and freaking movies and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's the way to watch them.
Yeah.
It's like
Netflix knows.
That's my
Netflix
version.
knows the new
That's
audience.
my version of an omnibus. That's my version of watching an omnibus right there.
That's a lot easier when my wife and kids are out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only have an X amount of time to play the Arkham Knight game before they come back.
Oh, yeah. So this was a 13 episode. Why does it say Charlie Cox was on 14 episodes? Maybe they're talking about.
Include trailers, maybe?
Maybe they're talking about the season 2. I don't know. Yeah, they have season 2 episode on IMDb already. IMDb, you're the worst. Anyway, so Charlie Cox plays Matt Murdock, also Daredevil. Deborah Ann Wall, who may know from True Blood, as Karen Page. Eldon Henson, I didn't know him prior to this. Foggy Nelson. Vincent D'Onofrio, who I think everyone should know, especially if you saw the second greatest movie ever made, Jurassic World, that came out this past week. Highest grossing to $1 billion ever.
Fastest
grossing to $1 billion ever. Will go on to be one of the most successful movies of all time. Of course, his most well-known role of all time, Vincent D'Onofrio in Jurassic World, as the one and only Wilson Fisk. Von D. Curtis Hall, I recognize the guy, but I don't know what I know him from as Ben Urich. Other people as other characters.
Rosario Dawson.
Oh yeah, she was in a couple episodes. Yeah, she was a weird character. I don't
Claire?
Yeah, it was a weird character.
Saved his ass plenty of times.
Yeah.
I mean,
Honorable mention there.
And she just kind of
She was a
disappears.
piece of ass.
Charlie Cox did so well in Daredevil. He actually got awards from the Helen Keller awards for the blind.
Yeah.
Representing visually impaired men on TV. Yeah. Kudos to him, man.
Yeah.
He did really good. I tell you what, I bought it a lot better than the movie, and I enjoyed it a lot more.
Well, let's do our normal.
He's got to keep his hands up, man. He got his ass beat.
Talk real briefly about the plot. We'll do once around, and then we'll talk. Then we'll just kind of reform and talk spoilers and stuff like that. Daredevil. If you don't know who he is, you're listening to the wrong podcast. This is a Netflix original show. It's about kind of his origin, going back to the black costume from the Frank Miller Man Without Fear kind of origin series. Does a little bit of a stick and kind of that background.
That was awesome.
Him and Foggy Nelson started up Nelson and Murdoch. Yeah. They save what's her face, Karen Page, from getting killed off in some like kind of scam that she like some building scam that she ends up herself kind of involved in.
That almost felt like a Purple Man scene right there.
A little bit. And then we're introduced to the Kingpin and his whole story. So,
that's right.
Brock, I know you probably finished watching it about as early as I did, so a little earlier than me. Give me you got a fresh opinion on this. Give me your take. Talk about it for a few.
Well, I was excited for this show just because I love the Netflix original stuff. You get binge watch it, so I'm like, okay, bam, huge chunk. I don't need to sit through 5 weeks of garbage to realize I don't want to watch this piece of crap Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show ever again. So I was excited for it, and I like Daredevil as a character overall. So, I really got into him with the Brubaker run. I need to go back and read the Bendis stuff. People were like, "Oh, the costume with this." I'm like, "Whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to watch this superheroes." But I really dug it. It was dark, gritty. The opening sequence, or the opening credit roll, is just amazing with how it's kind of just blood trickling down and forming the city and what's buildings and statues and all this stuff. And my fiance started watching it with me like about halfway through, and she turns to me one night and she goes, she's like, "I don't know what it is but every show I watch with you has the creepiest fucking intros ever." And she's like, "If I had just watched the intro to the show," she's like, "I wouldn't have watched it." But yeah, I mean, the show did an amazing job. It was dark. I found myself having to watch it at night with all the lights off. Mm-hmm. Like, I could not watch this show with any light on in the room at all. Like, it needed to be dark. And they kind of established, they did a really good job, I think, in the show, sound-wise, with, I remember in the first episode, he's in, I mean, not spoiler, but he's in the confession with the priest, and it's hard to hear him because there's just kind of this background noise that's going on, and occasionally you hear like a car or people talking or a dog. Like, you hear these little noises, and then it kind of focuses in a little bit, and you start to be able to hear a little bit better. And I liked how they played around with sound in the show and stuff like that, and avoided doing the let's give you a sonar look all the time. Right? I think we only got a glimpse of it when he was talking to Karen.
That was really cool too.
Yeah, they kind of skipped that whole, which is I liked. I'm fine. You kind of like have him like you see his eyes and it kind of fuzzes out around him, but they don't go into like this weird visual perspective.
Well, they gave his perspective when he was like once, where it was like he's like the world's on fire, and it had these nice kind of vibrant colors to it. But yeah, overall, I mean, they did an amazing job with the show. The story was really good all the way through. Building on these characters on at the level of he's a lawyer, Fisk is this rich criminal mastermind guy, and adding different dynamics to it. Not over, just dumping things on you. It did a really, really good job kind of saying, yes, we're part of the Marvel Universe by giving, Ben Urich wrote about the alien invasion in New York. And it was just like an old newspaper that was framed, stuff like that. Like, I like the little nuanced stuff where it connects you to the rest of the Marvel Universe, but it's not so engrossed in it. So, and it made it stand on its own. And the fact that it fit how Daredevil should be, which is that dark, kind of grittiness that came out with Bendis and Brubaker's run. It was is really, really solid stuff.
So I haven't really read the latest the Brubaker stuff or the Bendis stuff, but I was buying the Frank Miller stuff off the shelf when it came out. And when I realized I was very hesitant to watch Daredevil. I'm not a big fan. I did like some of the older stuff, but I haven't really gotten into the newer stuff. I did when I watched the first episode and saw the black costume. My thoughts immediately went back to that horrible Trial of the Incredible Hulk and Rex Smith in there. I was like, oh God, here we go. It's gonna suck. But that being said, the portrayal of Matt Murdock, how they brought across Foggy, how they brought Karen Page into it, how they brought the characters through, how they didn't reveal Fisk through like almost the first half of the episodes, and when they finally,
it's like maybe was a end of 3 he first appears, and then 4 he's in it fully.
Yeah, I mean you get a glimpse of him, yeah. Right. And, how they brought in Vanessa and everything, and whereas you couldn't watch it you had to watch it in the dark. I wanted to listen to it completely, so I had my headphones in the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So I picked up everything, and I loved, like you said, all the little key points they picked out for the MCU, for, the aliens and stuff like that. And I heard it more than a couple other references to, superheroes and stuff like that. And it was really, really well put together. It was a lot better. I'll tell you what, it was a lot better than I ever thought it was going to be.
Keep going, but before you do, you mentioned other characters or other heroes. I mean, there are 2 worth mentioning that I picked out. If there was more, let me know. But Owsley, the other kind of crime boss that he's partnered up with, is the Owl, who's another Daredevil villain, right?
Yep.
But the one that got the drop was the Greek girl, the Greek chick that he dated in college, right? Yeah. So that's Elektra.
That's Elektra. That's absolutely Elektra.
And that's amazing. Well, I was like, oh shit, Elektra. Oh, like that's next season, baby.
And then from his father fought the Absorbing Man.
Oh yeah, Crusher Creel.
Yeah, Crusher Creel was
in S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
Yep. And there was a couple others. I mean, a couple other references. Well, unless you got a hammer or a suit of armor, what are you doing?
Yeah, okay, people that have already.
But I mean, it was. I watched all the way through. I binge watched all the way through. I really, really enjoyed it. D'Onofrio, the guy who played Fisk, was amazing. It was really, really good. And that's how Fisk was supposed to be. He was supposed to be a bigger guy, but he's not supposed to be a fat guy. He's just, and just, oh man, so hardcore. It was really, really awesome. And how they brought about it, I was like, I keep on hearing about the costume. The costume has never come around. Last 2 or 3 episodes. I mean, how he came about, how he finally got his costume and stuff like that. Oh God, it was amazing when they finally showed it. And it wasn't like, a glimpse of it or something like that, or maybe, looking over his shoulder. You got the full on effect. It was fantastic. It really, really was. And then when Stick came in, and that was just, God, that was just fantastic. Just total flashbacks. I really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it to anybody. Get on it and watch it as soon as you can, because season 2's coming. You got Punisher coming. You got other supervillains coming in. Oh, it's going to be amazing. It really will be.
I think Kevin and Toby have a lot to say about this. So actually, I'm going to do Charlie and me, and then you guys can shit all over us for our our middling opinions on this. Charlie, give me your bit.
Hold on. I want to premise this. Charlie's will be exceedingly short because he's trying to cut down on this podcast time.
It was great. No.
It was great. Ryan?
No, I really like the show. One of the things that, as a viewer, kind of drives you crazy, but the way they handled it was beautifully, is like, as you kind of watch, it wasn't just about him getting the costume. It was figuring out what gear he needed to take out there with him. Like, his way of approaching things changed as the show went on. And I kind of like the fact that he took a beating as much as he did, just because each beating, he completely learned from it and changed.
He took a lot of beating.
Could we have renamed this? Could we give a title to this season? The Passion of Daredevil.
But
He's got more scars now than Batman. I mean, come on.
And I like the fact that they kind of talked about sort of the meditation to speed up healing. There were just a lot of things that they handled on the show that came very directly out of the comic books and the influence from the comic books. And I loved the way they handled Stick. Like, out of all the supporting cast to pull in, he was the one I was actually looking forward to the most. Because I really like Stick. And they handled him beautifully. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how much they kind of pull in or rename and whatnot. Because, I mean, as of right now, they kind of alluded to the possibility of, like, the hand and that kind of stuff. But they didn't name it at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, can I throw out a possible potential theory here? I forget her name off the top of my head. The Asian lady gang lord.
Oh,
right.
Woo?
I can't remember what her name is. I can look it up here.
Woo.
When she says at her last episode, her last appearance, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be going away for a while now," and he's like, "China?" And she's like, "No, much further than that." It's Kung Lao, right?
Probably.
She's going to Iron. That she's fucking going to be from Iron Fist. I was like, she's going to fucking Kung Lao. Like, that's totally what that meant, right? Right? I was like, oh, really? Like, that's awesome if that's true. I'm not expecting that. Yep. Kevin, that your thought? Yeah.
Because it's going to tie into the other four
Right.
or the other three
absolutely.
series. And it just seems like that's a natural, and that reference I don't think was accidental.
No, yeah. Madame Gao.
No,
That's her
Madame
name.
Gao,
Madame
yeah.
Gao.
Yeah,
Yep.
they have a master plan for what they're doing with this stuff. And, I mean, it's funny because I kind of joked around a little bit about how Netflix basically picked up all the stuff that Bendis revitalized at the time, because this was sort of like from a specific era of Marvel where Bendis was very active in Daredevil and writing Alias and kind of propelled Luke Cage and Iron Fist back up there and all that.
Yeah, it's that combination, right? It's the first you get hit by the Bendis and then you get hit by the Brubaker.
Well, this is me also wondering how the hell you pronounce Kun Lao. It's like
Nanda Parbat.
Nanda Parbat. I could at least figure out. But K apostrophe UNLUN. Kunlun. Like,
I don't know.
One of those comic.
Keep going, Charlie.
Well, it was like I was like modular for like 30 years, right? Like, how the hell do you say that? Mjolnir. Oh, okay.
Ra's al Ghul.
Meow, meow. Meow, meow.
There you go.
Keep going.
But no, I mean, in the end, I thought the way they evolved this series, I thought that, talking about the costume, I loved the fact that he basically got what he needed from Fisk, from fighting him and realizing that Fisk had a material that would allow him to move the way he needed to move, but give him some protection and stuff like that. It was all the little things on the show that made it work.
Came at a price. He got beat down by Fisk.
Now the guy that played
he was already pretty beat down at that point.
He was beat down by the ninja first off.
The guy that played the costume maker was the one from Cap, right? He was the one that was I can't remember his name.
Batroc? No, that wasn't Batroc.
That wasn't Batroc?
No. He thought the actor who played the costume maker, the tailor,
the tailor
was Batroc, but it's not. It's different.
Okay.
guy.
No. They look a lot alike, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, what's his name? Is it the tailor? The maker? Isn't he just the maker? Isn't that his name?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, you even had another reference in that scene with the saw blades.
Oh, yeah. I saw that, yeah. From, what tells his face?
The Gladiator.
Gladiator, yeah. Another Daredevil villain. That it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to get to playing Batman Arkham Knight. Come on.
But Toby's going to glare at me over this thing. I'll probably have what's the most dissenting opinion on an aspect of something here about Daredevil. And I loved the show. I thought it was fantastic.
I'm watching Toby look around for something to throw.
So the wireless keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, the wireless keyboard.
Daredevil, Foggy, all of them I really liked. And Karen Page, I liked everyone. So, Fisk, this is the thing that I'm a little weird about. And maybe this is why they went in this route. I like D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, but that wasn't the Kingpin. Now, I'm not a Daredevil expert, okay? And I'm fine with characters are different. I don't care about that. They can be different. And he's good, right? But... this show's a 9 out of 10 for me. So I don't want to sound like I don't like this show. So I'm going to say the same thing all you guys said about almost the entire show. But I did want to talk about this because this is the one thing that kind of not bothered me, but it was always kind of poking me in the head when I'm watching the show. I've read the vast majority of Daredevil comics since the Miller run, and even some prior, and I've read Kingpin in various comics. To me, the emotional level they gave Wilson Fisk in this, and his very kind of snap judgment and anger issues, and his sort of like panic attacks at night. It's not that it's a bad character. It actually, Kingpin is a pretty one-dimensional character when you kind of come down to it. So this really did add a lot of levels to the Kingpin.
Kingpin's just a brick that talks a lot more.
Sure. But this doesn't feel like the Kingpin I know from the comics, because he's a very stoic, straight, just like no nonsense, no emotion, and that's maybe not a great character. So I'm not saying it's a bad take on him. They did something very different with the Kingpin, and I liked it. It just doesn't. And I could say this about Ultron in Age of Ultron. Again, very different take on Ultron. Didn't work for me as much as the comic version. I liked what they did with Ultron, but it's not Ultron. I liked what they did with Kingpin in this. I liked it a lot. Well, he was a great character. But it's a very different take on Kingpin.
I think with Kingpin, you have to look at...
Well, hold on. Whereas I feel everyone else was, like, perfect. Like, that was Daredevil to a T. That was Foggy to a T. That was Karen to a T. Like, those characters were all perfect. Almost every single person. Ben Urich. That was Ben Urich. Like, all these other characters, they nailed the comic version. So, to me, it was odd that they went in such a different way with Kingpin. But not bad.
Well, I thought they revealed his identity to Foggy too soon.
I didn't care about that.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, they could have stretched that out another season.
Well, they didn't know if they were going to get a second season.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
To me, it's one of those things of the whole point of Matt and Foggy's relationship is sort of that closeness and all of that. And it's weird when it's like, well, he's my best friend, but he doesn't know one of the most important things about me. It needed the reveal.
Yeah.
No, so...
Back to your Kingpin.
I think the tricky thing with Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, is Kingpin's technically a Spider-Man villain. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know if there was rights issues with... No. There wasn't any...
No, yeah, it has nothing to do with that. No, I mean, the character name and everything. It's just they went with a bit of a different take. They added more levels to Kingpin, which... Now, this may be... Really, if you think about it, this is very similar kind of in tone to, like, Batman Begins. Or, yeah. I'm sorry, Dark Knight. Especially the Kingpin Joker. They have even similar kind of final fates, final battle scenes, major...
You're kind of... We have to... I mean, it's a show, so you're going to have to build Wilson Fisk up as a character in the show. It can't just be, the Kingpin. He is the Kingpin.
Well,
we may get... the Kingpin
down the road,
2 or 3, where he is this emotionless, just destroyer of men.
Well,
And so this is the early Kingpin.
one of the things I like about the Kingpin, because he's fallen far many, many times within like the comic books. It's not like he's always on top, but every time he comes back, he's stronger from it.
Yeah.
So I kind of see this as that transition towards he's not the Kingpin yet. They never call him the Kingpin because what it's going to kind of come down to is he's now fallen. But when he comes back, the city will be his.
Yeah.
But with the Kingpin, you don't just get him. You get all the henchmen. You get all the B-listers. Not even B-listers. You get A-list villains with the Kingpin. I mean, he can bring in any mercenary, anybody he wants, any hitman he wants to try and take care of.
Elektra and Bullseye, and
that's
I mean,
what I'm talking
all the
about.
major Daredevil
that's
villains.
completely set up for the second season, not an issue.
You get a bar full of guys that Punisher's just going to whack.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if they're going to...
Again, I don't.
That would be totally awesome.
This was just something no one mentioned. I kind of wanted to bring it up.
I think
but
it's a valid point in that if this is how Wilson Fisk is going to continue, then it's not necessarily the best representation of Kingpin. But if this is an evolution of Wilson Fisk into the Kingpin, then that's
technically, like I said, it's actually a better version of Kingpin that's in the comics because it is more. There are more levels to this character.
Yeah.
Is maybe just not what I was expecting, but I just want to talk about that because otherwise I'm just going to repeat what everyone else said. It was a great show. It was super fun. It was brutal as hell. Way more violent than I thought it was going to be. I mean, we're like R-rated there. I mean, that's as violent and as gory and as much swearing as I think you're ever going to see.
Freaking ninja fight. That ninja fight was bloody as hell.
Until Punisher's in next season, I don't think we're going to see anything worse.
The fight in this was it the second episode?
Oh, the truck door. How about the truck door?
Oh yeah,
that was
Are you talking about the hallway?
The hallway scene?
Yeah.
Like that was just
that wasn't
awesome.
as gory though as some of the other scenes.
No,
that
but
was
I mean,
just,
it kind of it was a great scene in the sense of like how it was choreographed and how everything laid out and just how the movement and it kind of that
watch the raid.
Yeah,
well, they just stole it from that.
But the thing is it helped establish kind of what we would see in this show, you know, going forward. Yeah. So
okay, we get before we end up talking for the entire time.
Aren't we supposed to
Kevin,
talk the entire time?
Toby, what do you two want to? Toby's still sobering up. Kevin,
Okay, so
you've got a lot to say about this. I think.
let me come at it. See if I can find something that hasn't already been praised. So I finished this maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something
you
like
watched
that.
it like really fast.
Yeah. And so I've had time to let it sit, so I'm not just going to be a case of walking out of the theater and saying, that's the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Jurassic Park 2 in theaters now. Oh, sorry, Jurassic World in theaters now.
Oh, my God. Let it go.
This is my favorite Marvel Studios product, and it's my favorite superhero television series I've ever seen. Now, I enjoy The Flash and Arrow, and we won't mention some others, but the highest praise
it's okay if you want to say
canceled, but let's
Shield.
keep going.
No, the highest praise I can give this would put it over some others for me is I enjoy this show even without the superhero stuff. The scenes that have no Daredevil in them, I was still completely involved and interested and engrossed the whole time. Whereas, and again, let me just say, I have a lot of fun with The Flash. Non-Flash scenes to me don't always land in that show.
Well, they're CW scenes.
I understand that.
Right.
I'm saying, so this is a whole other level of quality to me. And so I maybe watched 2 episodes in a day, waited a couple of days, watched another 2 to really let it sit versus just jamming it down like I'm at a buffet.
Hey, you just got to jam it down sometimes, man.
So, Ryan, your point about the Kingpin, I mean, yeah, that's one of those issues where you go, if it's not showing great fidelity to the original character, but it is better in its departure, should we ding it for that? And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm torn on both ways. It was a good character. Not really the Kingpin, but it's a good character. So
when I think of this, I mean, everybody's already praised many things that I would agree with. The fight scene's great. The fact that the way they showed his powers or didn't show his powers, what we were talking about earlier with Spider-Man, I love the fact that they didn't open with young Matt Murdock and his father, and we watch it a step-by-step origin retelling, that you get it in pieces.
Well, the first scene of the pilot, or that first episode, the first scene gives you enough of what you need, and it hits you just how powerful it is in what I think was like 3 minutes long, if that, and you get it, and then they just go.
Yeah.
Right there, and everything else is done, because that's all we really needed to see. Yeah, I know. That's all we needed to see was that scene, and then we can move on. We can get other stuff that we need later on down the road.
So,
but somehow in Superman you needed the entire origin.
I didn't need the entire origin. All I needed was
saying,
John and Martha
Man
Kent
of Steel.
finding fucking Superman. How hard is that? It literally, oh my god, there's a ship. Oh my god, there's a baby. I'm done. 30 seconds.
I think you could do like the first page of All-Star Superman for a future Superman movie.
Exactly.
Anyway, one thing I just want to call out for Daredevil that I really, when I think back on it, one of the things that really I think is fantastic is the attention to detail in a non-comic book way. There's a scene, 90% of people who've watched it probably wouldn't even remember the scene that I'm about to talk about, so I'll be quick. It's Matt Murdock and Karen at his apartment. She comes in, they're about to sit on his couch. He reaches out to feel the edge of the coffee table before he sits down, like a blind person would do, so he didn't hit his shins on it. 3 seconds long, and it's over, and then the conversation starts. The great thing about including that is he knows exactly where that coffee table is. He's playing the role of blind Matt Murdock because someone else is there. And the fact that they go to that level of detail, that's when I saw that moment, I know it's so insignificant of a moment. That's the moment where it went from I'm really enjoying the show to I'm in love with this show.
Well, I thought one of the funniest scenes in the entire show is when he's like looking around and he walks down the alley, then he throws off the glasses, he throws the stick, and then he starts running. And you're like, that's great.
The one thing I didn't like, and I don't know if everybody else will agree or disagree, I wasn't crazy about the red Daredevil costume.
Just at the end.
At the end. I don't like that black costume. I didn't like it when Miller that was Romita Jr.,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In the comics. I didn't love it there. I didn't like it at the start of the show, but I think I got used to the way it flowed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the Daredevil suit itself seemed more chunky and clunky.
Well, the switch from the fights in episodes 1 through 12 versus the fight when he's in the Daredevil suit, now he has the batons. Now he's got, or the whatever the hell they call it, the
Nunchuck.
The cane
Well,
stick thing.
Yeah,
it's
Billy Club. Yeah,
Billy Club. Thank you. He's got the Billy Club. Him and Roy Harper need to have like a flip off because all of a sudden he's flipping everywhere in that last episode, and it definitely
So
was.
are you going to start the Murdoch flips?
Yeah,
Twitter?
I should. It was very they again. That's Daredevil, though, right? I mean, early on, it's still Matt Murdock in a suit. When he puts on that red suit, he's like, I could do whatever I want now because now I'm Daredevil. And I think even my girlfriend, even Leanne, kind of mentioned she was like, this seems different than what he was doing before. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's because he's Daredevil now, and that all this flipping is what Daredevil does.
You know what? If you could just take the profile, I like the
little,
the horns are fine.
Okay, hold on.
The red suit has too many, and we're getting really, really specific here. Has too many.
Have you listened to this podcast
Yes.
before?
Oh, sorry. Spoiler in case we didn't say.
I like the Adam West Batman costume better than the Christian Bale one. The red Daredevil suit was a little too Christian Bale-ish for my taste. I didn't. That's just me. I liked the way he moved and fought and everything.
I have a friend who says the Adam West Batman suit is his favorite Batman suit because it's like kabuki theater. That it's this representation of the character, whereas in modern stuff they try to get too literal. While I may not necessarily agree with that, I understand that perspective.
Or that short Batman film where he fights the Predator and the aliens. It's called Dead End, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I love that suit.
Back to your comment about the costumes and stuff like that. I think the reason he's like, yes, I am Daredevil, and he does more flipping and stuff like that, is I think he was scared that thing that he had covering his head when he flipped would have fall off. Whereas the suit, it's actually on him. It's not going to go anywhere.
Well, and I think he's still very, and you see in the flashback when he first goes out as Daredevil and beats up that pedophile. I mean, he's still very unsure of himself, and he especially gets his ass fucking handed to him a few times. So I think with the suit too, there's a little more confidence that he's like, no, wait, I'm actually in this thing now.
I'm actually wearing my underwear on the outside.
Yeah. So
Red leather underwear.
Any-
Wow.
Anything else?
9.75 out of 10.
All right.
I did like
that did
the
it.
news article at the end where it showed somebody had drawn a picture of him and it looked like it came out of like.
Oh, it totally was Alex Maleev.
Yeah,
I'm almost
yeah,
100% sure that
yeah,
was
yeah.
Alex Maleev.
Yeah,
who
it's
did a lot of the Bendis.
Yeah, it was
arc.
it was really really nice.
I'll have to go back and double check, but I'm like 90% sure that was Alex Maleev.
Yeah.
Just to give one more shout out was the other headline in Ben Urich's office, the Terror in Harlem headline on his wall. So there's the alien invasion one on one side, and then the other one says Terror in Harlem.
Was that the Hulk?
It's the
That's the
Incredible
Hulk.
Hulk. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's the battle against the Abomination.
Nice. Hi, Toby. I know you got some stuff to say about this too.
I'm actually, I think, the hardest on this than any of you guys.
Really?
So, yeah. I actually thought you were going to say more, so it's going to give you more time.
Oh, please.
Where to start?
I thought you loved this for some reason.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I did love it, but I'm also
the hardest
on
of
it.
all of you. 9.5
No, I am.
out of 5.
I am, because I probably have more things I didn't like than any of you guys. But it's all minor detail because all the good stuff has been said already. So, first of all, a couple Easter eggs that you guys might have not mentioned. Atlas Comics or Atlas Publishing. Did you guys see that? Marvel Comics before Marvel Comics?
Yeah, where was it?
Right across from Murdoch and Nelson's office.
No, was it really?
I thought that was pretty brilliant. The Steel Serpent on the little drug packets. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Like the stamp that they were using?
Yeah, the stamp. Yeah.
What was it?
The Steel Serpent from Iron Fist.
It's like...
The
I mean, that would make sense if she's from
Yeah.
Kunlun. So...
Yeah, so...
You know what?
I love how every time you pronounce it slightly different.
Well, it was like Kun Lao, but I was like, wait, no, it's a loon. It's like It's like Lun. Oh, you know what? I saw that.
You forgot about it?
Well, no, I thought, that looks a little like the Iron Fist symbol.
It
but
is,
You know,
then
you know
I
what it
didn't-
was? It was the red. It was the red that it was stamped on. He's like, damn, if it was yellow, he
If
would
it was gold, I would have read.
It was like, it's too druggy, it's red, it's too druggy.
They're drugs. I
Can't
don't
be
look
it.
at those.
But by the time she made that comment after, I guess I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So,
now that I think about it. Yeah.
And another one is the Stiltman's giant stilts in the maker's office.
Oh, you know, I
didn't see
I think I
that.
actually did see that. It was in the back. It's just like you saw like one of the legs in the background, right?
No,
Did you see both?
It's just standing there in the background. I
Oh,
thought that
I
was
want to
kind
go
of
back and watch that tonight. I
So
didn't get to see that.
again, lots of details. You know, not to mention the newspaper clippings, like guys already mentioned. The show is just brilliant. Let me say one thing though. I think, and you guys will laugh at me, I think they had a big budgetary restriction on the show, and I'll tell you why. Because all the scenes you see are very, very, very minimal. There's very, very few scenes with a lot of background actors. Very, very few scenes with lots of people in them. There's majority of scenes are 2 or 3 characters talking to each other. And what this show did brilliantly was they hired some magnificent writers. I mean, just brilliant writers that wrote the dialogue to shit, as in awesome shit, not bad shit. So, and the cinematographer shot the hell out of these scenes. I mean, there's brilliantly lit, masked effect. I mean, a lot of these scenes are empty. I mean, if you look in the background, there's nothing there. I mean, they just lit it the hell out of it.
I am in complete agreement with you, and I think the what in the show that represents what you're talking about the most is Nelson and Murdoch's office.
Well, there's it's anything.
They went in there and said, "We're going to rent this space," and then they just started shooting.
But but that makes sense. They just started up. They don't have anything yet, so that makes sense. I'm talking about the time when they go to the court office and talk to Karen for the first. Nothing there. A bunch of places. Kimping is at nothing there. A lot of the scenes they picked are very easily filmed. Places to shoot at. So, I actually have a feeling they actually had a big budgetary reason, and they just shot the hell out of this.
I mean, Marvel, I don't know what you've heard about the filming of the Marvel movies, but despite some of their budgets, they are notoriously cheap with these movies, especially paying the actors. So,
especially there.
So I could see them cheaping out a lot on the Netflix
So I
shows.
have to really give 2 thumbs up to the filmmakers of the show, because they masked, they covered up, They just shot everything just to perfection. The fight
his
scenes.
apartment. Who wants to even shoot in an apartment with a huge neon light coming in, right?
Well,
How would he know?
Huh? No, shooting. Never mind.
Yeah, I got you.
Go away.
I got you.
Get back on a plane and go to Virginia or Taiwan. If you're listening
going,
if you're
keep going.
listening at Jim's work, send him away.
You love the cinematography.
What's the same time? Am I? See, I was on the train there, man. He threw me off. God damn it!
Stagger back on, Toby. Stagger back on.
Despite the cheap budget, they did an amazing job.
No, they did. It was
They
phenomenal.
shot the awesome shit out of it.
They did. I was trying to... you totally threw me off. I forgot now. Damn it.
Well, you've got more to say. Keep going. No, that was it. He didn't remember. He forgot everything.
Damn, I forgot. All right.
There was something you didn't like about the show.
There's a lot of things I don't like about the
let's
show.
Let's go with those. Let's go with
All
those.
right, I actually thought Foggy and Karen were really weak in the show. They're by far the two weakest characters in the show.
I really like them.
Nah, they did their parts. Karen was Karen, Foggy was Foggy. I just thought maybe their acting wasn't as par as on Charlie Cox was on such another level. Vincent D'Onofrio was on such another level that I thought maybe the weakness of Karen and Foggy kind of shined a little more. But
I think they improved during the
no.
show.
In fact, they annoyed me more as he went on. I wouldn't have mattered if they got too harsh.
It must have been that. It must have been
Too
that
harsh.
college scene with Foggy.
No.
It just killed it for
Look,
him.
they did a really good job. So I'm really just nitpicking at this point. I thought Karen was the girl from Chicago Fire, and it wasn't her because they look almost identical. And I actually thought maybe the other girl would have done a better job. Again, I mean, I'm nitpicking, right? This is they all done a fantastic job. I shouldn't say any of this. The camping thing, I actually quite agree with you, Ryan. It kind of, at first I loved it. And then as it went on, when he kept doing his best Shatner impression, it started really annoying me. Like, let me tell you, I have to burn, the entire city. So, the Shatner impression really got to me towards the end. At first, I actually really liked it because I felt like he was trying to keep his anger in check. It's like, but let me tell you, like the anger shined through, but he was like smart enough to not like let go of it, right?
Yeah.
And so
That meditation.
But after a while, actually, I kind of thought it was a little slightly annoying. But the stuff with his psychology, I thought was a nice little addition to the camping. It's almost like they knew what was needed to be done to be right to the camping, but they wanted to add another dimension to it, and I think that's what they did with this. Originally, I thought, camping should be the classic camping where he's the man in the dark, but I felt like with this, they had a chance of, adding more layers to him that wasn't done previously. So I thought it was like a nice little nudge to him. The whole thing with the, mom, because basically in this show, he's a grown-up trying to protect his mom in a way. He's slightly insecure of his actions. Mm-hmm. He has anger issues, which makes him kind of dangerous, as you see in his peers, because they're scared to say certain things because they don't know when he's gonna freaking just snap, right?
And that doesn't. That's what I don't feel like. That was the Kingpin. He doesn't just snap like
he doesn't.
that.
Yeah,
yeah, not.
But I feel like at the end, when he goes to jail, I have a feeling, like Charlie says, the Kingpin will rise again, or Wilson will rise again, and he's just going to be so much better. So I only think this is probably the first layer, wave of things that he goes through to learn. Because you see it throughout the show that, from young Fisk to older Fisk, he always is learning. He's always figuring things out. He's always thinking about stuff and how to improve on things. So I feel like this is just the first take at his own self, and he's going to remake himself to even be even better. I kind of like the artistic take on him, like that he cares about art and that he sees things in him. I thought that was a nice touch.
It's not so much that he cared about art; it's the fact that the white painting reminded him of staring at his wall.
But I thought that was a nice little, parallel to it.
That's how we're introduced to him, and that's how he leaves the season.
Real quick, one thing none of us mentioned. I don't think he's from the comics at all, but I liked his sidekick,
Wesley.
Wesley
reminded me of Rose, of the Rose.
Yeah, it did.
Really reminded me of the Rose.
Actually, really was.
And when he got shot and when he got killed, I was like, oh, please let there be armor under there or something.
Or have a rose? Or have a rose?
Have Rose, yeah,
He was a
exactly.
cool character.
So, I have a question, just because I don't recall ever reading this. Have they ever done a real definitive origin for the Kingpin?
Actually, in the more recent Punisher Max, the Jason Aaron run, they kind of touch on a lot of that stuff, including Vanessa.
Oh, cool, because I have that omnibus.
Well, I knew
But
about like
very
the
different.
Vanessa
Never cracked open.
stuff, but
Yeah, but very different than what they did in the other comics. But
No, they had him originally. His origin, he was working for the mobster Diamato, something like that.
Nah.
The guy that his father borrowed money from. Okay, so he was working for him and killed him and became the Kingpin and took over his organization. rose.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
all memories
Met
I
Vanessa,
have of
and
him.
they have a son, and the whole deal. So, but. I like you're saying, Toby. It's and Ryan as well. It is a very different take on the Kingpin, but like Rock is saying, this one has some depth. This one has layers, and yeah, he's snapping now, but he came in the same way he went out. He went out the same way. He was looking at that wall, and many villains has hired many a mercenary from while they're sitting in jail, while they're sitting there trying, waiting for their time to get out. So, yeah, he's going to come back. Absolutely, yeah.
Now,
I don't know. I've always, it's one of those interesting things talking about Kingpin having anger issues or not having anger issues. Because I've always kind of pictured him as having a certain level of anger issue, because typically it's the second he's not directly in control, he's personally beating the crap out of whatever superhero crosses his path.
Yep.
Or when he trains himself, where he has these hired assassins to attack him at full will, and he just kills them all for training.
I have a question for you guys. Now, how many of you wanted to become Catholic because you really would like to have a priest to talk to like that?
You know what?
If he offered me coffee all the time.
Actually, that was the worst part of the show.
You didn't like?
No,
Why?
I thought that was really slowed down the show. I
Well,
mean,
here's my... Well, sorry. Keep going.
one or two, what I think we really got the point across. They did it like 5 or 6 times, and it was like, yeah, I mean, I know, we get it, but it's an important part of the character. But it felt like it went on a little too
Honestly,
much.
I kind of wish they brought him in a little sooner. Like, I thought it was too much concentrating in the same spot.
Yeah.
They kind of trickle it a little more by, kind of same by same. That they, kind of hinted at that Daredevil's mom is, a nun. I thought that was kind of cool, which was from the comics. The other thing that really bothered me, actually, and I think I'm in the minority here, is while the dialogues were insanely awesome, and, and I talked about the budgetary reason, I think also because of that, we didn't see a lot of action, actually. I think if they had a little more money, I think we would have probably seen a little more.
Well, we had...
The action sequences are off the hook. Don't
We
get
had-
me wrong. I'm
we
not
had-
complaining there.
we had, like-
I'm just saying there's a lot of dialogue.
Well, we had like
scenes, a lot.
4 major fight scenes, right?
Yeah.
We had the scene at
And
the
then-
end of episode 2.
They're brilliantly shot. I mean, in the dark, they mask, the punches. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like they did it so well, that they you think they went all out, but they masked everything so perfectly well. The stunt guys are brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
we had
so
the
well
big-
done.
We had the big hallway fight scene at the end of episode 2. We had
Yeah.
the fight scene with the hand.
And I love the hallway scene just because you get to see a superhero barely awake, keep
Yeah.
on fighting. You kind of see the Murdoch will where Murdoch doesn't lay down, lay down. He keeps coming back
Yeah.
up. So I thought that was brilliantly done.
We obviously have like the whole last 20 minutes of the finale, and then I want to say there was one more. Which,
Well, there was a training stuff with sticks. There was some fighting with. There was.
and then the fight scene in the
Garage, the
Yeah.
taxi garage.
Oh, I'm sorry. So 5, the garage, and then the one at the
Apartment?
That's the hallway one.
Well, no, I'm talking about the one between him and Stick back in his apartment.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'm talking about then the one that's in the heroin ring when they
Against
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, so you kind of have like a big fight scene like every other episode, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like you had smaller.
but
fight
I'm not
scenes
talking
in it.
about
Well,
You
he
know,
needed an episode to recover from the previous.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. They can't beat him down much more.
No,
than to be alive.
it's not just that though. I mean, a couple more panning shots, a couple more, city shots, wouldn't have hurt the show, but I think it was a money issue. The other thing that really bugged me more than anything, as a big, huge, because you guys all know Nightwing, Gambit are my favorite characters. The other one is Daredevil. I loved him ever since I started reading comics, so he's one of my number one guys that I always will, pick up his books and buy the hardcovers of.
I'm like so sorry.
I feel like there's no the court cases weren't there enough, and I hope that they kind of fix that in the second season. I really wish there was more court cases. Them actually in court, finding cases or figuring things out, whether it was against Fisk or other people. I really felt like this should be there.
Charles Soule was a little busy.
Next season, Matt Murdock will join Boston Legal. So,
I thought no. I mean, you joke about it. I really like.
No, don't get me wrong.
Boston Legal was a little missing in this.
I love that. I love that. The practice and Boston Legal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they did that, how much more we get taken?
No, but I felt like some of that was missing in this.
Well, part of this is
agree.
the origin of Nelson and Murdoch.
Yeah, so
the
they
law firm.
don't have very many
Fair
cases.
enough.
They're not doing.
Again,
where are they getting?
Fair
this
enough.
stuff
Fair
in
enough.
the-
No, I'm just saying this is one of the things I like. Fair enough.
I would like to see
and
more-
it's quite possible in the second season
There
they
you
come
go.
back
That's
at
exactly
it.
what I was going to
Fair
say.
enough.
Yeah.
Same as Kingpin. Liked it, not liked it. I have a feeling we're going to see a different Kingpin in season 2.
Yeah.
I also feel like that hopefully the way they introduce Frank Castle is the Kingpin meets him in jail. I really hope that's the way they meet. That'd be I don't want an origin. I want flashbacks.
No, I mean, I fully expect.
I'm guessing they're going to do the origin of the Punisher similar to how they did in the Spider-Man comics, where he's going to see Daredevil as a bad guy and go after him.
Well, yeah.
Oh, please be that scene. Please be that scene.
but
Does he see Daredevil as a bad guy,
Or the guy in his way,
or Kingpin as the bad guy, or the drug lords as the bad guy? Because I
Kingpin's in
expect
prison and all that, and as far as the newspapers and all of that, like nobody's called Daredevil a hero at this point. As far as I recall. In fact, everybody
Punisher will take
still
all out.
blaming him for all sorts of stuff.
I expect we'll have the Punisher killing gang members, and he'll go attack the Punisher, and it'll end in like an uneasy
Yeah, but
alliance.
that's too simple, though. Come on, this show is already like kind of gone on the next level, so I actually expect a little more out of it at this point. Overall, I love the show. Goes without saying. I can't wait to see more. I'm a huge fan of the Bendis run. Huge fan of the Frank Miller run.
Hold on, before you say that.
Yeah, it's on sale.
No,
on
before-
Comixology.
Before you say that, we have a question from Stefano, who asks, what Daredevil run would you recommend for curious newbies? I just got my Marvel Unlimited subscription. So I think we can all definitely... Kevin, I know you're a big fan of the Miller run, obviously, so...
I'm going to go with one of my favorite runs of any comic is the second Miller run, the Born Again storyline.
Short run, but...
Yeah, it's not a mini-series. It's part of the regular Daredevil, but it was collected in its own trade paperback. It's written by Miller, drawn by Dave Mazzucchelli.
Yeah.
Born Again, brilliant. Highest possible recommendation.
There's a lot of Daredevil classics.
And if you buy that complete Frank Miller Daredevil
is it in
collection,
there?
it's in there too.
Okay.
So yeah.
Jump on at number 144, The Death of Deathstalker, and Frank Miller's first Daredevil.
158. 144.
No, I thought it was 144.
No,
I'm pretty sure.
it's 158.
No, you think so?
I know.
I'm looking
You
at it
guys have the
right now.
internet
right
in
now?
front of you. Figure it out.
Yeah,
all the way up through like 182.
the Frank Miller Daredevil run is
Where would you go beyond that if you're telling a newbie?
well. I'd say there's the Frank Miller Daredevil run, and then the Kevin Smith run, and Brian Michael Bendis. Those are the big three.
Brubaker?
And then Brubaker.
And then
And then
Brubaker
Brubaker.
is a continuation of that.
But that Bendis Malieve one was freaking phenomenal.
And then Wade.
Oh yeah.
I really
and then
didn't-
the
I really
Mark
enjoyed
Waid
Yellow.
Stuff. So early Mark
Like,
Waid stuff.
you know.
So here's the thing with Daredevil. Like a lot of these characters, the Daredevil that ran for 156 episode or issues is not the Daredevil that ran for the next couple hundred. It's a very 158. Yeah, it's a very different character. He was Spider-Man for the first decade, right? And he's jokey, kind of funny, quippy, and that elements of that continue.
And then enough death happens, and
But then Frank Miller took over, and he was a young kid named Frank Miller. This was his first big break, and this is a very different take on the character at this point. This is pre-Dark Knight.
No more
This is-
Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah, this is a very different take, and that's when the book vastly changes. And for better or worse, everyone after that kind of tried to replicate the Frank Miller run. Didn't always work. When they rebooted with Marvel Knights with Kevin Smith, you have to realize that at that point, Daredevil was one of their worst-selling comic books. It was nobody cared. Like a lot of the Marvel books at that point, nobody cared. It became Marvel's #1 comic for a very long time after that, and then Bendis kept that high going for a long time. And a lot of the stuff you're going to see in the modern, and especially in the show, and the modern take is from the
Did you guys
Bendis,
actually
Brubaker's.
like Owlie, the owl,
the character or Owsley in the show.
in the show?
I thought he was a fun character. I mean, he's not Owsley, obviously. I mean, in the
yeah.
comics, he's like in a green cape, but he's
Well,
like,
no, I don't need him to be in a Greek cave. I wanted him creepy. Like, I wanted him more fun on the surface.
Yeah.
But then turn around, be doing more creepy stuff. But he kind of was just that the whole time.
Yeah, he was just a little.
Yeah, I wanted more layers on him too.
Well, they could
Yeah.
have like a sun takeover maybe and be like the actual like the owl.
Well, I think
or,
that
like,
that's
the
He
crime.
died,
I
like,
think
the
that's
owl
what they
was
were
kinda
aiming.
funny.
That's what they were aiming for. I mean, he talked a lot about his son in the show. We never saw him, and I think that's kind of where they're going to go with it.
Going back to Stefano's question for a moment, if you skip the earliest Daredevils, the first pre-Miller,
Yeah.
you are going to miss, I think it's number 8 of the original series, Daredevil versus the Submariner in the ocean.
Yeah. There's some goofy stuff early
Yes.
on. Stiltman, of course, classic Daredevil.
Well,
villain.
the current Wade run has been really, really good as well.
So Mark Waid for the last 5 years or so has been doing Daredevil 4 years or so, and has been
And Charlie's been swearing by it.
It's
So
been
I haven't-
great.
No, it's
I
good.
haven't
Also,
caught on yet.
It's been that original kind of Daredevil feel,
Like
so
the
it's
old school one,
not
yeah?
as dark as the
Yeah.
Miller stuff, but then occasionally the dark stuff comes out.
Yeah.
Mark Waid hits both very well.
That's cool.
And I mean, the Bendis stuff and Brubaker stuff
Well-
was so dark.
Oh, dude.
Darker than Miller's almost. Like,
Yeah,
dark,
the
dark
Malieve
stuff.
run. Oh my god,
Yeah.
so good. So the art even was selling it. I mean, it was just like noir page by page. It was so
Oh,
fantastic.
well, yeah,Alex Maleev did a bunch
Yeah.
of that stuff. Brian Mack did some of that stuff. Now, I will tell you this.
David Mack.
What? Huh?
David Mack.
Yeah.
He's
What?
Brian.
It's a
What did I
Brian
say?
Mack.
Oh, Brian Mack?
Yeah.
David Mack. If there's one part of all those books that I don't care about, it's Echo. His kind of girlfriend.
Honestly, I actually think that the whole Mac run is a little skippable.
But then she pops up again. That character never clicked with me. I don't know. She just that's
because she
maybe
didn't have the bunny man with her.
No, that's just the weak part of that.
don't like
run.
ethnicity, right, Ryan? Is not a white one.
No, it has
Sorry.
nothing to do
That was
with
a
it.
total joke.
I thought
Total
that,
joke.
that
Total
character
joke.
was just never clicked with me the way that
Murdoch,
everything else in those.
Murdoch's always had a rotating kind of.
Yeah, I need to be blind. I probably get lots of poon. On
Oh, never date Matt Murdock because horrible fates await you.
You go crazy, you get stabbed in the
had
gut.
People always say, Batman's like the most tragic hero. No, it's Daredevil. Daredevil has the most shit ever happen to him over any other character.
Most shit,
Oh,
and he's not even rich. He doesn't even have that to fall back on.
Batman seems to go through his girlfriends over and like he circles around them again though. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back in the beginning at the line.
Yeah, normally it's like he'll have it and then he'll be gone and then he'll come back. When
Yeah.
he comes back, it's like at some
But they
point
stay
when
alive.
he comes back, you're going to be dead.
Wouldn't you rather, if you had to choose, live the Bruce Wayne lifestyle over the Matt Murdock?
Oh, yeah, every day of the week.
So when
Yeah.
you talk about
And
tragic,
twice on Sunday.
yeah.
'Cause, okay, for one, all the toys. All right, that sells it right there.
I love Rosario Dawson's character, by the way. I loved it.
Again, I thought I mentioned earlier. She didn't bring anything to the table. I don't know. I felt like she was just kind of.
I thought she did. I mean,
Well,
she
she's
was
the
a friend.
nighttime nurse.
She was.
Yeah, she night nurse or something.
Yeah.
What the heck?
But in
Yeah,
a way,
she's
she was
night
Matt's
nurse.
first friend, though, in the show. Or first true friend, because Foggy
Wait, is she
didn't
really supposed to be night nurse?
Yes.
Yeah.
What, really?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the same character's name as.
Yeah, I did not even realize that. That's funny.
No,
Okay.
but I also think she's the first true friend on the show because Foggy doesn't even know the whole picture of Matt.
Right.
Yeah, so
I did like it when Foggy found out that he was Daredevil, and he's like, "No, that he's."
Well, I also liked it that it took him
he's
like an episode to
Are you
figure
even
that out."
blind?
Yeah.
What do I know about you?
I just thought it was great. He always got the hot chicks.
All right, any closing thoughts? What's our thoughts on Jessica Jones? Also officially titled Jessica Jones now. They dropped that stupid AKA Jessica Jones.
You mean
Garbage.
the David Tennant show?
So, I don't know if I talked about this earlier,
Uh-oh.
but
I was thinking a butt was coming.
you know the deal with the Purple Man and Jessica Jones, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we think in today's very... How to put this lightly?
What are you talking about?
Is
Kim
this-
Kardashian making speeches about objectifying women?
All right, do not even mention those names on this show, please.
Do you want to say what the deal is?
Yeah, come on.
people
just
I
let it
mean,
out.
he basically
Used her.
borderline rapes her for years.
Not even borderline.
Mentally
There's no
and
borderline in
physically.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
There's no
they
borderline.
never. I don't know if they get into the physical. They imply-
made it pretty clear.
Okay. I don't know.
This is where we need
Ryan
Omar on
doesn't
to just
really
say it.
want to say it, but he's
Well,
The Purple Man violates her in a very uncomfortable place.
in many different ways.
The back of a Volkswagen.
And
nice.
do we think not only is Marvel going to go that direction, but with David Tennant? To me, I have a feeling they're going to skip that.
Do we think
part.
David Tennant could do that?
In
David Tennant
general,
can do
I do suspect that they're not going to take it to the harsh level they did in
Yeah.
Alias.
Yeah, I wonder.
Whether or not he's still directly responsible for her retiring a superhero identity, I'm sure they're going to go that route.
I fully expect that he'll be responsible for it. That he temporarily controls her and bad stuff happens, but the level of abuse she suffers from that character in Alias, I have a feeling would not go over very well with segments of the population that haven't been happy with Game of Thrones this season. I'll just leave it at that.
Not
okay?
to mention, and I mean, this is just my mentality on it, is it seems like he's gotten a lot of attention from Disney recently.
Yeah.
I don't see Disney being okay with doing that with a character he's playing.
Well,
Can you just get cast in a cartoon too?
and we have to also remember that this is in the same universe as Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers. Whether Marvel wants to kind of be like, oh, maybe it's
Well, I have
very
more to say
loosely.
about that in my closing thoughts.
No, it's fully connected. So, do they want
yes.
those elements in the comic books? You can separate. I feel you could
As
separate.
long as Agent Coulson doesn't show up, it's still in the same universe.
You could separate Max in the comics and the kids' books. I think in TV and movies, your average viewer isn't aware of this separation of the titles.
There's a separation in the sense of the movies need to fit a certain category. Netflix original shows where it's something that people are paying for this. They're also, going to watch this. You can almost go to cable, but not completely kind of do that.
Oh, you could go way past cable on Netflix. Yeah.
But
Orange
the thing
is the New Black? Yeah, all sorts of shit in that show.
But the thing is also, with Netflix, it's you set it for your kids. Your kids aren't going to see Daredevil pop up on the thing.
Now, personally, do whatever they want. If they want to follow the comics to a T, go for it. That's the comics. I'm totally fine with that.
Wouldn't it be
But I
too bad?
understand if they're maybe a little hesitant.
Can I ask a question to the table?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've seen Daredevil. You haven't seen pictures or trailers of any of the other three productions.
Yes.
Oh, Jessica Jones, you've seen.
Oh, yes.
There's not a full trailer, but there's
Right,
been pictures.
okay, yes.
Sure.
yeah.
Which of the other three coming
Suicide
would you say
Squad.
you're most excited about?
Iron Fist.
Oh, Iron Fist, 100%. Yeah.
Iron Fist for me.
Yeah.
yeah.
So right now it's Alias, but that's because
Because
of
it's
David
next?
Tennant.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Doctor will not save today in that show, Charlie.
I don't care. I like David Tennant.
I'm kind of curious about Luke Cage, Power Man. So that,
I'm
Well, he's going to show up in Jessica.
I'm excited for
he
all
can
of them.
show up in Jessica and Iron.
No, he's.
I just mean,
he's
what's
doing
your highest excitement?
Well, because here's what I think: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. To me, they're all on the same level. Iron Fist, they can go on that same level, or they can take him off into fucking other dimensions, fighting dragons, and they can really go crazy with that character. And I'm curious
Well, with Iron Fist, I think they can connect it more with Strange.
how. Well, that's the rumor.
Right? They can connect him with Strange.
The
so it's
rumor,
kind of
yeah.
it's-
Well, the rumor has it
it's
that
the webs
Cumberbatch
that
is
they're
showing
spinning.
up on Iron Fist.
Right, and that launches into the Doctor Strange movie. So, I'm curious how far they take Doctor Strange, or if they pull him way back.
I wish Marvel could get the rights for X-Men back, because then we could have Sabretooth.
Real with mutants?
We could have.
Are we doing
Sabretooth.
S.H.I.E.L.D. today, too?
First appearance of Sabretooth was
Oh.
in Iron Fist. I would love to see Sabretooth show up in Iron Fist.
If it was Luke Cage with the afro and the yellow shirt
Sweet
and the chain
Christmas?
belt, I'd be all over. That would be my number one.
They
You know
need
what?
a flashback episode.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
desperately need
While I don't want to see that in the
episode.
show, I will give them a lot of praise if they do that for a flashback.
2 minutes now. Call
Yellow satin shirt.
call it 4 minutes from 4.5 minutes from the end of episode 13 of Luke Cage. He's crushed the bad guy. He's sitting there just bloody as all hell. He gets up and he just looks at him and says, "Sweet Christmas." And that's just then it just cuts, right? And then here come the sirens and here come the Avengers or whatever. Like, that's just what I want. Just one. I need one Sweet Christmas. That's all I need. I don't need anything more.
Hold on to your butts.
But I'm pretty excited.
Closing thoughts real fast?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, we're done.
While you guys were mentioning about binging the whole show, I actually thought it was doing a little bit of disservice. I kind of like what you did, Mr. Sharp. As in watching a couple, let it sink in, watch a couple more. I think
that's what I did, but I call that binging.
Nah,
I have two kids.
I think if you go through all of them too fast, you actually lose a lot of it. And I know some of us actually will watch it over and over. That's different.
I never binge anything like this. I do an episode, a couple days later,
Yeah.
I watch another one. Like
You all
it's
suck. There's
so
nothing
rare.
wrong binging.
It's so rare. For me, it's I never have the chance.
I don't
I
have the
rarely.
chance.
Well, you're lucky because you get to sit in a hotel room with nothing to do for a couple weeks.
Well,
Yeah, he's got work.
Hey,
Give him
hey,
some
got
credit.
work to do, okay?
No, I mean
They know
after
now.
work.
What's it called? I could do maybe 4 at a time, but beyond that, I kind of want to sit. I gotta wait.
it's hard
2
for
is
me.
probably even better.
Well, that's why it took
Yeah.
3 days. Yeah, it was about. I mean, binging is like 4 episodes or something for me. That's
Yeah,
That's about
for
it,
me,
you
it
know?
was a disc was the
You're
limit
talking
and when
about,
I was doing
4
media.
hours
Oh,
of
I knew
freaking-
people that
yeah.
were done at 1 p.m. It launched at
really?
midnight. People
Yeah.
were done at 1
Well,
o'clock.
thanks to Charlie, I watched the entire half of Lost in one night without sleep and was wired the next day. Anyways, but I'm really, really, really glad that Marvel and Netflix are doing a mature, dark show. Not dark necessarily, because a lot of people mistreat dark shows. Shows do not need to be dark, but a really, really well written, deep show like Daredevil is. I thought they did a really, really good job.
I want a childish, colorful show. I want to see the Tick when the Tick comes out.
Hey,
Amazon.
joke not though. Yeah, I mean I think that's coming.
Amazon.
That's what I want. Is it out yet?
Not yet.
That's it. That's what
Speaking
I
of
want.
Amazon,
want the
I need to borrow someone's Prime account so I can watch Bosch.
But what's it called? I'm really glad that they're doing a whole new area of the Marvel universe with this Netflix thing, as opposed to the movies.
Bring
So,
on Moon Knight.
Agreed.
Bring on Moon Knight.
Okay. My final thoughts.
Go for it.
Go, Charlie.
Arkham Knight.
Thank you to all the Patreon listeners. I'm out of here.
Like Charlie literally is standing up and leaving. He's gonna go.
That is his closing.
He's gonna go play Arkham
I told
Knight.
you it was Arkham Knight. He could have just said that.
No.
Can't leave him holding the game. He's gonna kill me.
Well, we are done with this episode.
Can I want to make one statement.
One quick?
They drink a lot in that show.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
They're lawyers, of course. They drink a lot. Before we get out of here, though, we have to thank a few people here on Patreon. I actually got an apology on that I have to give here.
seriously
Did you say someone's name wrong?
No.
For those who are
did you say
listening,
their
Charlie is
website wrong?
literally
Charlie
walking
has
out
left
the
the
door.
building.
I'm going to be there in like 2 hours, Charlie. So no spoilers.
Well,
okay?
F
I'm
you
coming.
all. I gotta wait till the fall when the
coming.
Mac version comes out. I already bought the game. I gotta just sit there and watch it to be released.
So first, we got to thank Albert Soy, and we got some big stuff coming from him soon. So thank you very much.
Sweet.
Next, we got to thank Jillian Titus at the Nerds Without Pants podcast.
No pants.
At pixelbit.com, PIXLBIT. Third, apparently Patreon stopped sending me emails alerting me that I had new messages on Patreon. One of
Oh.
those things is our third high tier backer for the month, Jody Lawson, actually sent me a message a while ago, and I totally didn't see it till right now. So
Well, that happens with normal email with you too, so it doesn't really quite matter.
well, I literally never got these. So, Jody,
Until now.
we will be extending your thanks through all of next month, whether you pay or not.
Thank
Doesn't matter either
thank
way.
you.
He actually sent us a stack of books here.
Huh?
He started his own comic book company along with some friends,
Nice.
and they wanted to promote their books. It's called Triad Comics and Triad Studios. Lifelong comic fan, former comic retailer, and a longtime listener to the Comic Conspiracy.
Nice.
It's about episode 5.
Damn.
So he likes the classics. Just you
Question
and
his
me.
judgment at this point.
And
No, totally.
and now he's a Patreon contributor along.
Thank
I no longer question his judgment.
yeah. Along with some longtime friends, they're taking their first step into the final frontier of creating comic books. So go
Nice.
check these guys out. Facebook.com.
Are the books in that packet or no?
They are. We got copies for everyone.
Oh, cool.
So
Thank you.
Triad Comics Studios. Facebook.com/Triad Comics Studios. Of course, TriadComicsStudios.com. Go to the website and check them out. And
I hope these guys are Young and Dangerous fans.
and I think they're just at Triad Comics on Twitter. So go check these guys out, and we've got some copies of their comics. We'll probably we'll read through these and talk about these in the next week or two.
Very
so
cool.
Good luck with your comics, guys. And like
good
I
luck.
said, Whether that donation carries on or not, we'll pimp
see
you
what
guys all
happens.
next month. So
Sweet.
give you an extra week there. So sorry about that. And everyone that wants to back us, patreon.com/comic conspiracy. This is
you.
our.
We appreciate it.
No, I'm sorry. We have one episode left before the June one is up, so you got about a week left. If you want to jump on that July shout out, we'll pimp your books. We'll send you some free comics. Well, I guess they're not free, really.
So when we're doing the Shield wrap up, man, I thought this was going to be the all Marvel podcast
We could do
without
Shield- we
Bryce
could do
for
Shield
some
next
reason.
week. I apparently didn't watch the last episode. I
Dude.
thought I had, but I didn't.
I
so-
have lots to say about Shield, not so much as Daredevil, but I have quite a few
Yeah.
things to say about the Shield.
In the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think 3 weeks from now, we're probably going to end up getting that big Marvel book that has all the solicitation info for all their October
September
reboot stuff.
October, yeah.
And I know Bryce wanted to be here tonight. Hopefully, he's going to be on next
Bryce,
week, and he
man.
wants to talk Daredevil. We'll definitely talk Shield next
Sweet.
week.
I'm out for the
I
next
may
two,
make my
I'm out for
notes.
the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're gone for a few weeks.
I may
Thank
have to
God.
make my notes like Bryce does and print it out because when Brock interrupts me and I lose my train of thought, that I can just jump right
Sorry,
back
man.
on.
I'm trying to help you get back on.
I had it all listed in my head, man. He threw me off my page and it was
Flush.
gone.
Just flushed it right there.
Yeah. I have to actually print it out next time or put it on my phone.
So we'll hopefully do some more talk.
So I'll see you mid-July.
All right.
Next week, though, is Happy.
Just in time for Comic-Con. Next week, not only is Happy, which is
you had to
Charlie's
say that. Damn
pick of the week, also GTO Volume 1,
GTO.
which is Toby's pick of the week. So we'll probably do a
Wait, that's next week?
short, regular episode, and then the back half will be the comic pick, the book clubs for
doing
2
that
months
next week?
worth. Yes.
All right.
And then I get to pick mine next week, too.
Oh.
Get ready for a Morrison book.
No, Charlie just did a Morrison book. I'm not going to do another one.
Double
you would.
Morrison.
Yeah. We also should promote the various things that our
Mr.
good friend
Sharp.
Kevin Sharp does. You got a book that just came out fairly recently.
No, not a year ago.
Yeah, it's-
Does that count?
That's still it's recent to
to
me.
Ryan Higgins, that's recent.
Oh,
That's recent to me.
but it doesn't have pictures.
That's
all right.
Although it does, Brock, have 80s songs in it.
Yep.
It's a young adult novel called After Dakota. You can find it, all info on my website, which is kevin-sharp.com. Also on that website is the feature on Comic Book Resources about my man cave.
Oh, did you have a thing on the
On the
You have a man cave?
Yes.
what is it called?
Shelf
The,
porn.
Shelf porn. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
When was that?
that was a while ago.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
Is,
thought-
is your
sorry.
man cave legendary?
Well, it's legendary enough for it to be on CBR, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah, I like.
How come we don't have an episode on this?
I like shelf porn.
oh, shelf porn will be a
Oh yeah,
double
Jim,
episode.
You never
yeah.
see, you need to send in your.
No. Until he gets new shelves.
Time out. Time out.
Hey, no dogpiling, all right?
I've been telling Jim for years to buy some goddamn shelves for his nice stuff, so everything just looks like 10 times more.
couple pieces aren't as nice as they used to be anymore.
Well, that's because you don't listen to me, my friend.
Sinestro
Only good
died.
things happen when you listen to me. Or not, but, generally.
That's the plan. That's the plan. The plan is to redo the shelves while I'm home.
I have actually read this book with no pictures, After Dakota, and I really, really enjoyed it, so I highly recommend
Nice.
After
Wow.
Dakota. It was good.
It is.
I'm impressed with the no pictures that you read it.
It is
read
for
books.
publishing purposes. It's called young adult, but really the audience is for anybody who is or ever was a teenager.
Nice.
It has a sort of Shannara reference in it.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I like to change the topic now to the mighty Golden State Warriors who won the championship.
so,
Thanks
for listening to Comics
The first time in 40 years, I was in Oakland partying it up. That's why I wasn't here for a couple episodes or more than one
Never
episode.
partied it up in Oakland?
No, I plenty of times, but this time it was for the Warriors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I texted Toby and I said, "Be safe."
You know when we said Toby
You know
came
what?
in drunk?
You
That's
joke
from-
about
he's
that.
still drunk from
Hey,
the party.
No, you joke about that. So we were at the rally point, and literally as we left, 2 minutes later, we got text going, "Are you guys okay?" 3 people got shot literally as we walked away.
geez.
Yeah, no idea. We just literally walked away at the right perfect timing.
point backwards and walk away.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode. Let us know your thoughts on Daredevil. Go to geekbox.net and download this episode and all our previous episodes. You can go on forums at geekbox.net and discuss it
Oh,
there.
one more thing. All the print people.
Oh, yeah, Prince.
After tonight, if you didn't receive any notice from me yet, by the time you hear from this, hit me up. But I should be hitting all of you up by tonight. Not send it yet, but I should have all your addresses by tonight, though. So if you didn't get a message to me by the time you listen to this, hit me up.
Cool.
I'll give you mine.
No, you didn't.
And the
You
Geekbox.
didn't win.
And the Geekbox Facebook group. Geekbox and Comic Conspiracy Facebook group, I should say.
Sorry, I've been lacking on it,
On
by the
Facebook.
way.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. Go buy your digital comics there, including Dark Horse, finally. Yay. Patreon.com/comicconspiracy. Go there, donate some money. Pays for the hosting, pays for the pizza, pays for occasionally other
And the
stuff.
pizza was awesome tonight. Thank you very much.
Always.
It had your name on it, pal.
ConspiratorBrock.com.
That's why there was only 2 slices for me, you asshole?
He ate the cheese.
That is that is Brock's blog and video pull list, which will go up
Which would go like Thursday night.
Friday morning or something.
So I sent out a thing on Twitter asking for shoot me some questions and stuff. So maybe I'll do a Q&A tonight.
Brock Sager AMA. Brock Sager AMA.
Wait, you do the show with Aunt May?
No,
Start watching if that's the case.
He does Aunt May.
Peter Parker
does Aunt
was
May.
doing this last
The
night.
Infinite Long Box podcast and Wanders in the Fourth Dimension. I don't even know why I'm plugging
Part of
these.
the
Charlie ditched us like 20 minutes ago.
Hey,
Don't go listen to those.
he's
They're
doing
terrible.
what you want to do right now, which is playing Arkham Knight.
I know. On
You
Twitter,
still have to upload a podcast.
Hey, don't remind. Hey, on Steam, they said the Mac version would be available a day before. They were like, no, it's going to come out in the fall. Thanks a lot.
Oh, wonderful. Twitter, I'm Ryan Higgins, Ryan Brock's Brock Sager. Bryce is Larson Bryce. Hopefully he's back next week. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Tell him, spoil him on Arkham Knight because he's a jerk. Jim is LD Exterminator. Kevin, you're on Twitter. I don't remember your handle.
That Kevin Sharp.
Okay, there you go. Don't forget to listen to Geekbox Comedy Button. Good job, Ryan, the All Talk podcast. Bunch of
Small
podcasts on
spoiler.
it. No.
Do you,
Don't, seriously.
Do you think? No, it's a guess. I don't know for sure. It's a guess.